Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Kulturecast. I am your host, Chris Stachiw, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, confidant, and the man in black himself, Mr. Eric Niss. How you doing today, Eric?
I don't know if I want to be referred to as the man in black after this fucking bastardized piece of shit movie.
And we are joined this week by a frequent guest of the Kulturecast and a good friend of mine, the author of Crimson Sun and the Stormblade Saga, Mr. Russ Linton.
Hello.
It's been a while, Russ.
Yeah, it's been a long while. Thanks for having me back.
I figure it's, adaptations of books. You're an author. You can come shit on Stephen King with us, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of really positive stuff to say today.
We'll see.
As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about an adaptation that's almost a decade in the making, The Dark Tower. The film is directed by Nicolas Arcel and stars Matthew McConaughey, Idris Elba, and the newcomer Tom Taylor. The IMDb synopsis for the film is: the last gunslinger, Roland Deschain, has been locked in an eternal battle with Walter Odom, also known as the Man in Black, determined to prevent him from toppling the Dark Tower, which holds the universe together. With the fate of the worlds at stake, good and evil will collide in the ultimate battle, as only Roland can defend the tower from the Man in Black.
For thousands of generations, the gunslingers were knights, sworn to protect us from the coming of the dark.
These visions, as you call them.
What do you see?
I see a tower, the Man in Black, and the gunslinger.
They're just dreams. They're not real, Jake.
There's another world out there. I know there is. Whoa!
Who are you?
It's you. You're a gunslinger, right?
There are no gunslingers. Not anymore.
Why does the Man in Black want to destroy the tower?
The tower protects both our worlds. If it falls, hell will be unleashed.
He's like the devil, isn't he?
No, he's worse.
You can't stop what's coming. Death always wins.
Your world might be gone, but mine isn't. If you let that tower fall, billions of people die.
Do they have guns and bullets in your world?
You're gonna like Earth a lot.
All right, let's go.
You clawing your way out of the darkness? Did you tell the kid whoever walks with you dies by my hand?
I will kill him, for both of us. I do not aim at my hand. He who aims with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I aim with my eye. I do not shoot with my hand. I shoot with my mind. Jake! I do not kill with my gun. I kill with my heart.
All right, so Russ, you haven't read the books. Eric, you have. So since you're the guest, Russ, what did you think of the film, being someone who had never read the books before?
All right. Well, I've heard plenty about them, obviously, and they've kind of been on the to-read list forever. But as an author, my to-read list is never ending. So, but I did get around to reading The Gunslinger when I heard this was coming out, because I thought, well, okay, now I have an excuse. I should probably get off my ass and go read the series. So what did I think? I kind of think meh, right? I mean that's kind of it. It was really mediocre, which is kind of bad, kind of terrible. It's a crime in the Idris Elba proportions here.
Well, I mean, Idris Elba is essentially wasted in everything I've ever seen him in. So it's just kind of continuing that trend of, hey, you're in Prometheus? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I know, Eric, your opinion is, having you and I talked a little bit prior to the podcast, your opinion is much stronger than mine and Russ's. So what did you think of the film? As someone who's read the first 4 books.
Oh, I hated it. I haven't been like this, let down and bummed out and pissed off about seeing a movie in a really long time. Maybe the fact that it is so mediocre is what pisses me off, because the source material has so much going on, and it's almost like they pulled none of it. None of the stuff that makes the source material good is in this movie at all. They just took the really, really, really basic idea of the series, and they were just okay, cool, let's make a movie around this, and then just forgot everything else about the books that made them great. And the actors are completely wasted. I mean, I don't know, from top to bottom, this movie was just bad to me. I don't know. I thought the writing was bad. I thought the directing was not good. I thought the editing was choppy. And I mean, I can find very, very, very few redeeming qualities in this movie, and it's a bummer.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Russ. I started reading the first book. I never finished it because, honestly, as big of a fan of Stephen King as I am, I just couldn't get through it. It just was not.
That first book is kind of rough.
Yeah,
you know?
It's not great. Yeah.
I mean, it was written when he was younger, and you can kind of tell that. I can see from a writing standpoint, okay, I could see an editor finding promise in that, and he does show a lot of skill, but at the same time, there were places where I was kind of fucking lost as to what was going on.
Well, and obviously this was, like you said, this was written when he was rather young.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
which also means that he wasn't horror maestro Stephen King. He's, probably, just Richard Bachman at this point. I mean, he's not really this horror kind of writer that we know he is now. And so it just feels so just tonally different from everything you'll ever read of Stephen King.
Well, that's the way this whole series is.
Right, which is my big problem with the series as a whole is I'm a fan of Stephen King's short stories because I personally feel like Stephen King's short stories are his best stories because he has a real hard time keeping the narrative together the longer the book goes. And I mean, it is like 1,500 pages.
Yeah, I've heard that criticism about him before, and it especially applies to this since it is so epic in scope, that he has trouble kind of just keeping all of that stuff together. And maybe that's true, right? I have to admit, I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, but with this series in particular, though, supposedly this is like the nexus for all of his work. And I kind of think that secretly this is the kind of stuff that he wants to write like all the time. But it's the other stuff that he's been known for, the horror and that's what sells. And so that's where he gets his money.
Like the Dark Tower series is essentially like the meta universe that all of Stephen King's books inhabit.
Yeah, which is like, why the fuck would you make a movie about that? Because right there, just that starting premise is, how do you pull that off?
I mean, well, the thing is, I mean, honestly, it makes a lot of sense because if you look back to 2008, when you have a film like Iron Man that starts the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what's to say they didn't just start a Stephen King cinematic universe? If it's all connected by this one through line film and everything kind of takes place in this universe, obviously not with the same characters, but certain characters are repeated. I mean, Randall Flagg, a.k.a. the Man in Black, is in The Stand and The Dark Tower. So you have this through line of, reappearing characters, reappearing villains. But this film is such a fucking bummer. I mean, I don't think anyone went into this movie thinking it was going to be good. The way that they advertised it, the amount of money and time that they put into advertising this film and promoting it should have shown that the studio abandoned it. And they totally did. They abandoned it. They left this film just kind of to die on its own. And like Russ said, I mean, it's mediocre. I almost don't even have an opinion about it. Like, not like a strong opinion. It's just kind of like, and that for me is the worst indicator for a film. Like, if I don't care about it because it's not good enough for me to be like, yeah, go watch it. And it's not bad enough for me to be like, let's fucking make fun of this film and rib the film and have a good time making fun of it, then that's where this film occupies. It occupies that like middle ground where it feels like there was a lot to this film that got left out. And there's a lot to this film that's not explained. I mean, I don't think I have to even say that and anyone's surprised by that sentiment.
I read after I saw the movie that the original cut of this film was almost 2.5 hours. They cut an hour out of this movie, and it feels like it.
It feels like they cut 2 hours out of this movie. This movie is an hour and a half long. Let that sink in. Like, I know that there is this movement of short movies, the short movie movement in Hollywood, where you want the movies to be an hour and a half because that shows tight script writing and kind of laser-like focus. But a film like this, an epic narrative, that this is the bedrock for that epic narrative, you can't do that in an hour and a half.
No, you gotta fucking set up this whole world.
It'd be like saying, "Oh, Star Wars: The Last Jedi is an hour and a half." What? Like,
I would be
like the fuck?
I would be
like,
so pissed.
But that's like the equivalent. I mean, It is coming out next month, and it's 2.5 hours long.
And it's two movies.
Yeah, it's two goddamn. Well, it's one movie right now. They may not make a second one.
It will be 2 movies.
If it makes money.
Oh, it'll make money.
It will.
This is supposed to be like 12 movies. I mean, this is supposed to be The Dark Tower right now. It's supposed to be now a TV show with Idris Elba and Tom Taylor in between the movies.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be. Sorry.
I don't think that shit's happening. I don't know. You know what? Stranger things have happened. I mean, we have Transformer movies, but obviously those movies make money. But I mean, if it gets picked up on like HBO or Showtime, I mean, there's really no telling if it couldn't happen.
Honestly, I think that's what they should have done in the first place. This should have been like all right, HBO or fucking Netflix or, Hulu or whoever the fuck, just pick up the Dark Tower series and then just adapt it. And don't do this weird, meta, it's a sequel, but also not a sequel bullshit. Just fucking adapt it straight up. But it is
a sequel. Unfortunately, I know you don't like that as someone who's read the books, but Stephen King said it. The people involved in the film said it. This is a sequel to the books because of the way the books end.
It irks me so bad that, like, they pulled, like, that bullshit card that this is a fucking sequel. If it's a fucking sequel, make it feel like a sequel. Don't make it feel like a weird amalgamation of all of the books thrown into one shitty 90-minute movie.
That's how the sequel would work in the way the rules are set down in this meta-universe's narrative. That's the problem. The way the book ends, having him go right back to the beginning of the book, that's the only way that this movie would make sense if they made it, and so therefore it's a sequel regardless. Even if you don't want it to be a sequel, even if it's a reboot, it's still a sequel.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely get it. I just think it's, I don't know, it's bullshit. It's bullshit and it pisses me off. I don't know why.
Well, Stephen King painted him into a corner with the way the book ended.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
dude,
part of the problem is the whole meta-universe could just be bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because he doesn't really acknowledge that that's what's going on until I think somewhere around book 4. And it could, you know, it's almost like fans are behind it saying, oh, hey, look, you used this name here and you did this here, you know?
Well, he retconned a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And this isn't like another example would be like Brandon Sanderson, who's got his fantasy Cosmere universe where, you know, he's a very intricate plotter, and he's hooking together several of his series and like 30-something plus books with all these little breadcrumbs and stuff, but he's doing it from ground up from the beginning, you know? Yeah. So it's all kind of baked in.
Well, that's the problem with this inherently is the Gunslinger, like we've been saying, was written when King was a teenager, you know, like late teens.
Right.
And so there's no way he would have known 30 years down the road that he's this big, successful horror writer. And he's like, well, now I can connect these universes. Like, well,
that's what they should have done, honestly, is adapt the Gunslinger, but work with King and rework it so that they can actually create like a universe from the ground up. Like, because you're right. King doesn't really work out actually what's going on, and like you as the reader like aren't really aware of the larger scope of this universe until like the 4th book.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster. You know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And that's like when shit starts to get like really weird and like really crazy. And like the first 3 books are like this really kind of like simple, but like, I mean, it's not simple. It's really fucked up and really weird, but it's like a fairly straightforward, as far as, you know, all things considered, like narrative of the Gunslinger and Jake and, you know, sort of like their travels toward the Dark Tower, you know, following the Man in Black. And what baffles me is like, why do this movie in such a way that like you don't just like, if it is a true sequel and you are going to do this whole weird, you know, the wheel is constantly spinning and you're constantly starting over and you're always going to do the same things over and over and over again, then why don't you just start from the fucking beginning instead of starting somewhere weirdly in the middle and then jumping around all over the place and like basically smashing like 8 books worth of shit into 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, just start at the beginning, do the Gunslinger, but like rework it so that it makes sense in the context of everything else. Like, that would have been the fucking movie right there. And that would have been a good fucking movie.
Yeah, I think this is where Hollywood kind of steps in, you know, because it was, like Chris mentioned, trapped in development hell for so long.
Oh, yeah.
I think that they just gave up on it, you know, so they weren't, they just wanted to put something out there because they said they were going to put something out there. And now they're going to let it probably just die, which is kind of sad because they could have done what you're saying. You know, they could have actually put some thought into it and released something that the fans would have enjoyed and that, you know, newcomers to the series would have understood. But
exactly, yeah.
Nope.
Well, and the issue is, I mean, you know, some huge names in Hollywood were attached to this at one point. I mean, Ron Howard is still attached as a producer in the film.
Yeah.
Originally,
Ron Howard's working on the Han Solo movie or something, isn't he?
Yeah. He came in.
I don't want to talk about that.
He was brought in as the director, but
that movie's already pissing me off, and it's not even out yet.
Our good friend at Nostalgia Inc. was brought in to make The Dark Tower, Mr. J.J. Abrams. He was brought in to originally work on The Dark Tower back in 2007.
God,
and then
fuck that guy.
And then it went to Ron Howard for 5 years, and nothing got done. And then Nikolaj Arcel was brought in as the final director.
God, and what the fuck has that guy directed? Because I got a bone to pick with
The
this
Girl
one.
with the Dragon Tattoo movies?
Like the Swedish ones?
He wrote The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the 2009 version.
Huh.
I don't think that he's the real issue here, though. I mean, he is a little bit.
No.
I mean, the name that I go to and the name that sticks out to me as the real issue here is Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman is a terrible screenwriter. I mean, if you look at the last 5 films that he wrote, I mean, it's just a murderer's row of garbage films.
What are they?
Transformers: Last Night, King
Jesus.
Arthur: Legend of the Sword, which he didn't write, he produced. Rings.
Oh God.
The Fifth Wave.
Ugh,
the Divergent series Insurgent, and Winter's Tale.
Who the fuck is hiring this D-bag?
Wow.
Well, he's an Academy Award-winning screenwriter, sir.
What did he win an Academy Award for?
A Beautiful Mind.
Oh,
okay. Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while,
Well, yeah,
right?
Broken Clock is right twice a day, yeah. He wrote Batman Forever, sir. He wrote Batman and Robin and Batman Forever and Lost in Space.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All is forgiven. He's a fucking national treasure.
Yeah, right. He is a terrible screenwriter. He wrote the script for The Da Vinci Code. That movie is... The book is take it or leave it, but the movie is god-awful.
Yeah.
I mean, they made 3 of those fucking movies, so...
They did. They made money, which, to Hollywood often is, hey, that's great.
That movie was not going to not make money. The Da Vinci Code. I mean, that book was like the biggest shit in the world.
Everybody was fucking into that shit. And then the second that you attach fucking... what the fuck is his name? Fat Tom Cruise? Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Fat Tom Cruise. I think that's just Tom Cruise now.
Oh no.
Got him.
Yeah, Tom Hanks in anything is going to fucking sell, especially when it's like the biggest book of like the early 2000s or whatever, whenever the fuck it, came out.
Can we talk about something though? Is this like the beginning of the downfall for Matthew McConaughey?
No.
You sure? I don't know.
I'm sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a downfall. I mean, he's kind of just been out there floating aimlessly, much like his acting ability. Just kind of aimless.
I mean, that's the problem with McConaughey, right? Like, he works really well on certain things, but then other stuff is just like, man, what the fuck are you doing?
You know what? I think that a lot of it was the way that the character was written and the way that the, story was presented overall.
Yeah, but Matthew McConaughey is still to blame because whatever choices he made as an actor, it's bad. It's really bad.
You saw the movie like 12 hours before I did, and that was your comment, was that Matthew McConaughey was really bad. And when I was watching the movie, that was like honestly one of the things that bothered me the least about the movie. I was like, okay, it's not great, but there's so many other things that I just really hate about this movie that like that's not even a big deal to me, was his character.
He is not a good counterpart foil to Idris Elba. And Idris Elba does a good job, but McConaughey, man, he just doesn't even seem like he gives a shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They both kind of seem like that to me, just because I've seen Idris Elba in so many other movies where he sold me on stuff. I mean, I watched him in that, whatever the hell, that Beyonce movie. I actually watched the first part of that just because he was in it, and he was actually selling the lines in that steaming pile of shit, So when this came on, I don't know. He kind of just felt...
Yeah,
like he checked out,
The only actor in this movie that feels like they're not phoning it in is the fucking kid who plays Jake Chambers.
Because the kid is the fucking main character of this film. Whoever thought that was a good idea? I don't know. What I don't understand, and this is the biggest problem I have with the film, just completely the biggest problem, the glaring issue. Why would you put the gunslinger Roland as a supporting character in his own film?
Yeah.
Well,
that was part of the marketing issue, I think, because you never would have gotten that from any of the marketing I saw. that this was about a kid or even had a kid in it, yet he's the main character.
Yeah, I think that this movie was really geared toward like young adults, and that's why. Like, if you look at all the fucking movies that the screenwriter wrote before this, you know, when he did the fucking Divergent movies and whatever other steaming pile of shit that he's done, not counting Beautiful Mind, they're all like young adult movies. Like, and so I feel like that's when I was sitting in this movie, it felt like those movies.
I mean, there should be one thing that makes it obvious that it was not made for adults. It's a PG-13 film.
Yeah, and it should never have been a PG-13 film. Like, the books are extremely violent and really fucked up. Like, they really neutered the shit out of this in order to make it, like, PG-13.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in The Gunslinger, he kills an entire town of people, like, over the course of several pages, and it's just a fucking bloodbath. And
he gives a lady a pelvic exam with his Magnum.
His gun. Yeah. Like, it's fucking crazy, like, the amount of violence and, like, you know, insane shit that happens, but, like, that's the world that, you know, the gunslinger, like, lives in, and you don't get any of that, like, at all from this movie.
No, because it focuses on the kid the entire film.
Yeah, it's so fucking watered down.
It's the last action hero, you know? I mean, that's what it is.
Except the last action hero is good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, you know.
Except I actually like the last action hero.
But that one had an intended purpose for that, you know? I mean, it was this kid and his fantasy was kind of being fulfilled, and that's kind of what happens here, you know?
I hadn't made that connection, but shit, this movie really is Last Action Hero.
It totally is, 100%.
But just like terrible Last Action Hero.
Yeah, just not good.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people already don't like Last Action Hero, so...
Yeah.
True.
There's no cartoon sidekicks to, you know...
Voiced by Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's the situation.
We're made to, in the way that the plot is presented, we're made to believe that this Dark Tower, it's like this big deal, right? And they're never at the Dark Tower, but the Dark Tower is under attack throughout the film. You're made to believe that this is, you know, this holds up the whole world, and this holds up all the universes, and it protects us from the monsters that are just out of the corner of your vision. And then the way that the film kind of wraps up, it just... The stakes that were presented in this film are almost just non-existent. They disappear.
Yeah.
You know, I never got the sense that Matthew McConaughey as the Man in Black, outside of him just going, stop breathing, or lighting people on fire, I never really got the sense that he was really that much of a threat. Like, that monster that Roland fights in the forest is more of a threat than Matthew McConaughey is.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that monster almost kills Roland.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is both of the heroes seemed immune to his magics, you know, and it's like, okay, well,
Magics.
Oh my god.
And you know what? Coincidentally, this is yet another Stephen King example, not by his doing, more casting of the magical Negro syndrome, which is like a Stephen King problem some of his dramatic works, like The Green Mile, like The Shawshank Redemption. Now you have the magical Negro in the Dark Tower. And that's like a problem. That's like a legitimate criticism against Stephen King's books.
True.
Yeah, and so with the casting, they have the same thing, where it's the magical Negro can stop, you know, is the savior. And it's like, oh, guys, come on. Like, we need to really stop falling into this trap.
Like you said, that's a casting problem in this case, but it's also a scripting issue, too, because the real hero was kind of taken out of the picture almost, you know?
He's turned into the magical Negro.
Yeah, exactly. He just became this sort of mute, you know, bullet flinging guy. I mean, and that was it. You know, he had no other purpose.
Yeah. Well, and in the books and everything, I don't remember at all, like, the Man in Black trying to, like, you know, I don't know, beguile the gunslinger into, like, doing anything and it not working. I just remember him purposefully not doing that because he wants to draw out, like, the gunslinger's, like, torture of, like, chasing him as long as humanly possible to, like, make it this really fucked up thing that Roland has to do. He's like, yeah, gunslinger, like, what are you going to do? I'm going to kill everybody around you and I'm going to let you live so that you can follow me for your rest of your life and never win. Like, that character is way more interesting than some fucking D-bag whose magics don't work on the fucking gunslinger. Like,
I like how everyone is taking issue with the word magics because, man, that shit sounds goofy as fuck when you say it out loud.
Oh, it was. It sounded goofy as fuck when he said it out loud. Come on.
Can we talk about how many times they say shine in this movie?
Yeah.
Get it? The Shining?
I mean,
maybe. I don't know.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is. And they brought in the vampires and everything from the fucking Shining and all that shit. Did you guys notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Guys, like, you can't even, like, focus on one, like, narrative. Like, you're bringing in all this other, like, Stephen King universe shit. Like,
I mean, they had a sign for Pennywise, dude, at one point.
Well, and then in the fucking doctor's office, when the earthquake happens, it cuts to the picture of the Overlook Hotel.
Hey,
did you guys notice that?
They wanted to have their cake and eat it, too. They wanted to establish this meta-universe, but also, like...
Yeah, which is a dumb fucking idea in an hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, guys, okay, I'm totally okay with, like, winking at a bunch of Stephen King's work. That's totally fine. But, like, you didn't even spend enough time on the fucking narrative of the story that you were telling in order to, like, work in all these, like, weird little, like, other Stephen King universe cameos. Like,
if you can't explain and flesh out the narrative of the main story, don't spend a single frame trying to show me something else cool. Just for shits and giggles' sake. That's for sure. Yeah.
I wasn't sucked in enough into the main story to not be distracted by all of, like, the Stephen King winks. Like, every time one would happen, I was like, God damn it, really? Again? Which is so fucking stupid, because, like, when that shit happens in other movies, like in Marvel movies and stuff, or, I don't know, Star Wars or some shit, like, it's great, and it just, like, adds to the whatever, and they're, like, these nice little Easter eggs, and then you just move on, because the story is still going.
Well, on that note, we're going to take our first commercial. On that note, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more discussion after the break. Movies have become a portal to a vast and growing pop culture universe, but you don't need to go over the rainbow to get your pop culture fix. Just head to Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. They are your one-stop shop for comics, toys, posters, games, and more. Not a pop culture nerd? No problem. They have something for everyone, including a wide array of sports cards, collectible card games, even memorabilia. Stop by one of their 2 locations today. The flagship location at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or their newest location at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17, Lincoln, Nebraska. Most importantly, don't forget to add them on Facebook for pop culture news, weekly live videos, and special events.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Week after week, I'm mesmerized by the focus given great films and questionable films alike. But every episode is a learning and entertaining experience.
This is hands down the best movie podcast. They cover so many different genres across so many years, from obscure movies to blockbusters.
If there's only one podcast about movies and cinema that you listen to, make it this one.
The
Projection Booth Podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
All right, and we're back, and we are talking about The Dark Tower. So, film hasn't been getting great reviews. That's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I feel like film adaptations of literary works kind of always get that bad rap. I'm curious for you guys, where does The Dark Tower kind of sit versus other Stephen King adaptations that you've seen, either film or TV?
As far as the adaptation goes, I mean, I think it's pretty low on the on the rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sort of just a failure as an adaptation of his work. Period.
Yeah.
Most of his other books they're just more straightforward. You know, he's kind of gotten known for his horror, and it's always just okay. You've got this terrible problem, and it's out there, and there's some sort of resolution at the end, and it's a very straight line narrative. This is just, to begin with, all over the place, and it's just too hard to put into, say, an hour and a half, you know? So had this been the introduction to this broader idea of a multiverse, okay, maybe it would have worked, but that's not what they did. They tried to cram like all 8 books into one thing, and no, and then make up some bullshit excuse about how, oh, well, yeah, this is a sequel to all that. Yeah, whatever. No, doesn't work.
Yeah.
Somewhere at the bottom.
Yeah, this is one of the lowest adaptations of a Stephen King book that you could have. My favorite Stephen King adaptation is The Shining, and Stephen King does not like that movie because it takes a lot of liberties with his work and changes a shit ton of stuff from the book. But it's still
it's about Stanley Kubrick admitting that he faked the moon landing, sir. That's what that film is about.
Yeah, it's also about a lot of other things. If you're going to believe, all the theories in Room 237 or whatever.
Room 237 officially ruined The Shining for me. Because every time I watch The Shining, I'm just like, oh, there's that poster, that Minotaur skiing on the hill. I love Room 237 to death, but some of the theories in that film are fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Oh, but if you've never seen Room 237, it's a film analysis about The Shining, where people who have weird and crazy theories about what the film's actually about.
It's not.
So you should watch it.
Right.
Most of the people in that movie are not like actual, like they don't know anything about like film at all. It's just like weird people who saw The Shining and were like, they showed that like Red Man can a lot in that movie. What are they trying to say?
Sir, the Calumet baking soda can?
Oh yeah, Calumet, yeah.
It's about the destruction of the Native Americans is what it's about. The movie is next level. It's awesome, but it's just like, whoa. It's like you are reading way too much into this nonsense.
Without getting sidetracked too fucking far, your adaptation of a Stephen King book does not have to be a literal translation of the words that are on the page in order for it to be good. It just has to not be whatever the fuck they did when they wrote this movie.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, you got to admit it's hard. I mean,
they
had a like monumental task trying to come up with an adaptation for this. I can completely appreciate that, but you can only take so many shortcuts.
Well, and in this day and age, with TV being in kind of its second or third golden age, there's not really an excuse for not adapting it into like a limited series, or even just like a series on Netflix or Starz or Showtime or Hulu. There's not really an excuse.
No, there isn't.
Game of Thrones this shit and do fucking 7 seasons of it, and there you fucking go. Like, you could do the whole story, and you could even make it the infinite loop that it supposedly is.
Was the point of making these movies to finally close that loop?
I don't know. I don't know what the point of this movie was, and that's what makes it suck so bad.
Russ, what's your favorite Stephen King adaptation?
You have to come back.
It's okay if you want to say Lawnmower Man. I understand.
That would be my favorite, yes.
I think we're all thinking it, yeah. We're all thinking Lawnmower Man.
Nothing says amazing like Pierce Brosnan and Jeff Fahey as a mentally retarded lawnmower man who takes over the world in a computer.
Right.
With early 90s CGI.
Early 90s
effects.
CGI, which is never going to age well.
No, it has aged so poorly.
It wasn't even good at the time.
It may have been good at the time.
No, I was playing games that had much better graphics.
But that sweet Jeff Fahey CGI face is just so good.
Right.
For me, I mean, I love The Running Man, which I know, I mean, it is a Stephen King adaptation.
Okay.
I mean, the book is like vastly different.
Yes.
The book is like nothing like the movie.
Yeah.
But it has Schwarzenegger, and it's the only Stephen King adaptation that has Schwarzenegger.
Well, we've talked about this. Every movie has Arnold Schwarzenegger, so that argument is invalid.
Yeah, we have the Arnold Schwarzenegger theory on the Kulturecast now, Russ, where Arnold Schwarzenegger is in every movie. Sometimes he just doesn't make it to the villain fast enough to end the film.
Oh, I got
Someone else has to do it. Yeah, he's always just there waiting.
Kind of like this was Last Action Hero.
Yeah, kind of like Last Action. Yeah, kind of.
My God,
yeah, kind of like this was Last Action Hero. This movie was, he didn't quite get there in time.
Yeah.
But he would have been there. Had that bullet not bounced off the other bullet, he would have been there.
Fuck me. I also really like the original adaptation, the TV adaptation for It, but that's because I'm a huge fan of Tim Curry. I know that it is like very tonally different than the books.
Yeah.
Right.
But I still love it because it's Tim Curry. Also, I mean, I think right now the best adaptation of a Stephen King work, like best contemporary adaptation, would have to be The Mist.
Oh, yeah. If you're talking within the last 10 or 20 years, for sure, The Mist.
Yeah.
Even Stephen King said the ending of that movie was so fucked up that he wished that he thought of it.
Yeah. The ending for that film is amazing.
Yeah. It's one of the most bummer, but also the best ending to a movie like that ever.
Yeah. And now it's a TV series.
Which I have not watched because why? Why?
It's gotten mixed reviews, which is more than can be said for The Dark Tower.
That's true.
But it just goes to show, I mean, if you're going to make a series, why The Mist and why not Dark Tower?
We've had a Mist adaptation already.
Right, exactly.
And it was great. It was good. Don't touch it. Don't fuck with it. How the fuck are you going to make The Mist a series? What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it like The Walking Dead, where it's just this infinite Mist universe. And that's not what The Mist is.
Right.
The Mist was this single concentrated event that may have spawned other events like it, but it was the story is very in the book it's not. In the book, they end it very open-ended, and then the movie really closes it the fuck off. Why? Everybody's trying to do The Walking Dead, where they just have this show that can run for literally forever until everybody hates it and nobody's watching it anymore, and then they'll still do 3 more seasons, and then they'll fucking shut it down.
They're trying to 2.5 Men that shit.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And so we've talked about this already a little bit, but the Stephen King multiverse and this idea in his books that all of his books are connected because all of the monsters in his books come from these tears in time and space.
It's an interesting concept.
Where the Dark Tower is protecting us from, and so you have these thinnies, which are the spots in the universe where the monsters can come through. So therefore you have Pennywise and the Mist and stuff like that. Those are all this area that the Dark Tower is trying to protect us from.
Right, yeah. They're basically rips in the dimensional fabric of our universe.
And don't forget, Stephen King himself also connects with all that.
Oh, right, because he's in the Dark Tower books.
Yeah.
Because of course he is.
So it goes super meta, right?
Yeah. Hyper meta shit. Yeah. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that Stephen King is literally in his own books.
Yeah.
And at one point, characters from the Dark Tower save him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I mean, that's ballsy. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'm waiting for in Crimson Sun for your characters to meet you, Russ.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yeah, no,
and
it's
then
not.
We came upon our creator. What the fuck?
I think though the problem I have with it almost gets into psychoanalysis of the writer. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
I don't need people connecting too many dots. They don't need to know what's going on in my fucking mind.
It's 8 books, and he wrote them over the course of 30 years. Longer.
Yeah.
And he started writing them when he was very young, and then he was an alcoholic for a long time, and then after post-alcoholism Stephen King continues to write and his writing changes, and I don't know what kind of effect that has on your, process or whatever, because I'm not in my non-alcoholic phase yet, so I don't know.
The first Dark Tower book came out in 1982, and the final book, the Dark Tower 7, The Dark Tower, came out in 2004, so...
22 years.
And I think he's kind of alternately said, yeah, I'm done with that, and no, I'm still writing It Never Ends, sort of a thing. So
I think the nail's in the coffin now.
I don't think you can bring it back from this. After this,
But that's the thing, right? Like, with the way Hollywood is, like, I want to say, fuck, this is done. Like, this is over. But
no, it's probably not. Like we said, The Mummy was not good. I mean, it wasn't as bad as everybody said that it was, but it was also not good, and they shouldn't make more movies, but they are going to, and it doesn't matter. And they'll probably all be equally as not good as The Mummy was, and it doesn't matter because as long as they make money, and especially now if it makes money overseas, which if this movie somehow makes a bunch of money overseas, then of course they're going to make more because there's a market for it somewhere.
I think that we'll see something.
I hope not. I really hope not.
And I say that because Glenn Mazzara is the showrunner for the show, and Glenn Mazzara was involved with Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was involved with The Shield, and so he has this pedigree of creating or being involved with these shows that are held in high regard.
Right.
So I feel like we're gonna see something. As much as I don't want to believe that that'll happen, I feel like Hollywood being as crazy as it is sometimes with things that are like, I mean, we had a sequel to Tron, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Tron was not a financial success for Disney by any stretch of the imagination, but we had a Tron sequel.
True.
Stranger things have happened, and again, in this day and age, with TV really in its third golden age, if they're going the TV route, if they can create a TV show that's good, that has interest, that drums up interest, and people go and watch it every week, they'll make another movie anyways.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
God,
they have all forgotten the face of their father.
Oh, so many people have forgotten the face of their father.
Poor Dennis Haysbert. Anytime I see him, I'm just like, man, Dennis Haysbert, you're just the Allstate guy now. And the president from 24.
This movie bums me out so hard because it's such a failure to make something good that should have been easy to make good. Like, it should have been easy to adapt this work into something that could have been great. And there had to have been so many fuck-ups along the way in order for the movie to be where it is now. And then the studio obviously just stopped giving a fuck after a while. And they just wanted it to be over and wanted it to be out and be done. And now we're stuck with, this trash can fire of a, movie that...
I don't even think it's a trash can fire. That's the problem. I think it's just mediocre.
Honestly, I would rather this movie be worse. Because if it was worse, like you said, then at least we could have some, morbid humor about how terrible it was. Right. Now it's just I'm just bummed out because they really fucked up, a cool story, and they didn't fuck it up enough for me to go what the fuck was that? This was fucking crazy. And they didn't do a good enough job for me to go well, that was interesting. It was just it's just a movie made by people who didn't know anything about the material and didn't give a fuck about it.
Right.
I would say the closest analogy is building a piece of furniture, but from scratch, but taking cutting corners every chance you get. At what point have you significantly diminished the structural integrity of this piece of furniture that it's almost not even worth trying to use? It's an 8 series book, and they're trying to adapt 2 or 3 books into one book, but
it's not even 2 or 3 books that are next.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
To each other. It's like 2 or 3 books across all 8 books.
Right. And then on top of that, they take it and they cut it down to an hour and a half. So it's like, at what point have you cut so many corners? Have you taken so many shortcuts that if you literally put any weight on this chair, it'll just snap under the weight of its own problems? And that's exactly what happened here. This film was every single shortcut that could be taken was taken.
It's some IKEA movie making bullshit, dude.
It really is. It's really the shortcut of shortcuts. IKEA is not even shortcut. This is like literally like, let's go to Home Depot and buy some particle board and make some furniture. That's like this.
Whatever like knockoff like Walmart version of IKEA furniture that exists, probably like this is that.
Yeah. Held together by wood glue with no screws.
Yeah, the instructions are all in Chinese,
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I really hope that this movie has like as little success as humanly possible so that they don't make any more anything from this story for like at least another, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. Like
I say, it's going to have to be like a decade before anything else comes out.
Let 10 years go by and then let somebody who has like some sort of crazy vision about how to make it and make it great fucking do it then. And then if they can fucking pull it off, then great. But like 10 years has to go by before we can get away from how not good this was.
Well, last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up, how do you guys feel this fares against other genre-bending films? Because obviously this film bends the genre around horror and westerns, and I guess, I don't know, sci-fi? There was a lot more sci-fi in this film than I was thinking there was going to be.
It's pretty tricky. I mean, not a lot of films do it, and there's a reason for that. It's really hard to get your audience in, it's hard to hit the right markets and stuff if you've spread it out over all these different genres, and it can be kind of confusing, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of the critics have said about this film. That's their biggest criticism, is it's like confusing and it's just this hodgepodge of ideas, and it is because there is so much thrown in and there's not enough explanation behind it to tie it all together. So it doesn't work. It's hard enough to do regardless, but it doesn't work at all with this.
Yeah, and I mean, King works in all these different genres in the books, like slowly over time. Like it's not a fucking interdimensional portal traveling Western horror book from like the first page. It's like he's building this universe over the course of like several books. Like you don't even get really a full picture of everything until, I don't know, 5 or 6 books in, like to where you can sort of understand the scope of what the fuck is going on. Because, even in like the first book, it's like, you just have like this desert that this gunslinger is crossing, chasing this guy basically so that he can kill him. And then you have this kid who somehow accidentally moves over into like this other dimension. And so like you just have like this weird, it's like a Western revenge thing, but there's also like this like weird science fiction-y fantasy type of element like that's going in. And it's like there are some horrific parts, but like they're more in the realm of like hardcore violence and stuff like that. It's not really like cosmic terror type of shit like happening. Until much later in the stories. And so this is just another. It's the same thing. The problem with this movie is the same across the board. They just took shit from this whole series and tried to fucking make one cohesive thing out of it in an hour and a half, and that's literally impossible to do.
And for me, I honestly didn't realize that there was going to be so much sci-fi.
It's like this really weird, like sci-fi, like fantasy realm, you know, that you have. Like, you know, there's that scene in the movie where McConaughey goes to like grab one of those like orbs. Like they're called what are they called in the books? The Merlin stones or Merlin? So I don't know. Somebody who listens to this is going to be like, you're a fucking idiot. It's called this. There's like all these orbs basically. And like in the books, those are like a big deal. And there's like a bunch of them and they all do like different things. And they let you see like different parts of the universe and like work in conjunction with like the tower and things like that. And he just uses it for like 5 seconds in the fucking movie and then like puts it down. And like they don't explain what that shit is at all. And I'm just like, oh, there's that thing that's like a super huge deal for like 3/4 of an entire book. They're fucking talking about one of these things. And like they reference it for 5 seconds in this fucking movie. I'm just like, guys, you're like missing the whole point of this, you know? This isn't like Lord of the Rings where you can cut out, 50 pages of description of the fucking Shire, like, and be okay. You're cutting out 3/4 of a goddamn book and using like 30 pages of a 700-page book from 3 different books in an 8-book series to make an hour-and-a-half long movie. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, and I can't think of too many recent movies that are genre mashups like this, especially on this scale. You said that earlier, Chris, and I'm struggling. I'm trying to think of any that have come out.
I mean, I can think of a couple. They're not as like stark as this one. Like Get Out was kind of a genre mashup. It was like horror and comedy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Kind of a drama as well. But like this is just like, I mean, this is like there's like a hard line in this film where it's like there's a sci-fi and there's a western and then it's like a real world action film.
Sci-fi, western, fantasy. I mean, you've got it all covered, and it's
with all the magics.
Right.
And the shine. The shine. Your shine is so strong. I was like, oh.
And then on top of everything else, I know that Arthurian legend plays into the Dark Tower, but they didn't need to try to. They did not need to try to throw that in there as well.
No. Well, you said the writer had just gotten off of writing. What was it? You said he'd written that terrible Transformers. King Arthur nonsense.
But King Arthur and the Arthurian legend plays into the Dark Tower.
Yeah, absolutely.
But man, they did not need to throw that into the film as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
that was an attempt to do, the explanation part, but it just obviously didn't work. I mean, it was just kind of chunked in there.
Yeah, they're trying to explain. They're trying to begin and explain and end an entire series of books in 90 minutes. Like,
right.
If I were to sit down with both of you guys and try to explain what these books were about, it would take me like, I don't know, half a day to explain even like what the first like 2 books were about. And like, it would be a shitty explanation and I would probably forget a lot of stuff. And like, I don't know. It's like these guys read the cliff notes of the books and then made even cliffier cliff notes for the cliff notes that they read, and then cut that down into 90 minutes.
Yeah. The other issue, too, now that I think about it, since it's about the kid, which, again, anybody who's never read the books and who saw the previews and the marketing for this would have no clue there's even a kid in the damn thing. But since the whole movie's about the kid, it's a portal fantasy, right? So
totally.
We're going in from his perspective, and the kid knows nothing about this world, and this world is obviously incredibly, crazy and, all over the place with its different, genre mashups and stuff. So it's set up for failure right there. If you start the movie and you actually make it about the gunslinger like they should have done, and you start in his world, then you come out with something where the viewer can experience the world and like understand what the hell's going on. But I'm not the writer. I wasn't the writer. Nobody asked me.
I think the last thing I want to mention is I really didn't like the child actor as well.
You say you didn't like him?
Yeah, honestly, I thought he was one of the better parts of the movie. I was like, damn, this kid is killing it. Everybody else is fucking terrible.
I thought he did all right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still in the meh category with him and every other fucking thing in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to take another break and play a preview for next week's show. Next week with a discussion of Necromantic.
Oh, yeah.
Our next film in our controversial film month. It's a film about necrophilia.
I'm jazzed about it.
I read the description. Yeah, I read the description. It's like, oh no.
That's why you're on this podcast and not next week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you really lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it yet?
No.
I have a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like some pretty creepy shit right there.
I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a lot about it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Linton, what have you been up to in your writerly duties since the last time we talked?
Since neither of us seem to remember the last time we talked, I finished up the Stormblade saga. It's a 3-book trilogy. I released the second book for Crimson Sun, which is several years after the first book, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And that's what I've been doing, just kind of getting more books out there. Crimson Sun 2 Motherland, it's out and available now, so check it out if you get the chance.
What about you, Eric?
Nothing, man. Same shit, different day. Fucking watching these movies and just being bummed out. No, I don't know. Yeah, working on some shit. We got that. Wovoka's got that tour coming up at the end of September. So if you're on the West Coast, we're coming up to Canada for the first time. So if you're in Vancouver, come fucking party with us. That's it. Yeah.
And where can people follow you on Twitter?
I don't know. If you're so inclined to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can follow me at Tycho Magnetics. I post rantings and ravings and shit about, stuff. Usually when I'm taking a dump, but yeah.
You can follow me, as always, at Culture Stash. Thanks again to Mr. Linton for taking time out of his busy schedule to sit down and talk about Dark Tower with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please head on over to cultureshock.com where you can find out more about today's episode. You'll also find links on iTunes where you can rate and review the show, and to Patreon as well, where you can kick a couple dollars our way. Donors get access to unreleased episodes, DVDs, and the chance to guest co-host a Kulturecast. Big thanks, as always, to Eric and Wovoka for allowing us to use their song "Lament" as the intro music for the podcast.
Yeah.
And Duh Decipher for allowing us to use his song "Two Step" as the outro for the Kulturecast.
Posted with the crew. You know how we do, I'm just two-step, drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money, oh man, two-step, posted with the crew, yeah, you know how we do.
Hey, two-step, you know what I'm saying, 1, 2, 1, 2, been jamming. Hello?